Well, friends of Mundo Maldini, we are already facing an incredible Champions League week. Tomorrow, I will be at the Bernabeu to comment on the match between Real Madrid and Atletico de Madrid. You will have a video, of course, from the stadium. Absolutely. Then on Wednesday, I will be in Lisbon to comment on the match between Benfica and Barca on Movistar as well. But I want to take advantage of this video today being the Champions League preview. We will make several preview videos, of course, about whatever happens in that Real Madrid-Atletico de Madrid match, with a lot of things, with the predictions you will have tonight for the matches, etc., etc., etc. But I want to reflect a little and listen to Carlo Ancelotti, especially to make a reflective video about what happened to Real Madrid in Seville in that defeat against Betis, in that fair defeat against Betis, that clear defeat against Betis, even though it was only 2-1, but for me it was a defeat evident and completely justified. I want to talk about what might happen in tomorrow's match. I want to talk about Luka Madrid. I want to talk about Alaba. I want to do quite a few things. Let's first listen to Carlo Ancelotti and include the Y Scout report. They always provide some snapshots of the match. Let's listen to Carlo Ancelotti, who understandably wasn't in the mood to talk after the match. And let's reflect on what might happen tomorrow at the Bernabeu. We listen to Carlo Ancelotti.
If we play like this, we won't win on Tuesday. That's quite clear. Hopefully, this match will help us wake up from injury for the next game. It seemed that in recent times, the team was much more organized, much more compact. And today we weren't able to do it like in previous matches.
Well, he seems very angry, understandably. It's normal. Madrid played a match, I would say, that was very poor. Not against Real Betis. There is one thing that is evident that we need to analyze, and that is that Madrid was missing key players. But the problem for Madrid is that of the key players they were missing yesterday, while we see the phenomenal Jesus Rodriguez with Luka Vázquez here, of the players they were missing on Saturday. Against Real Betis, they will only be able to recover Valverde, and we'll see how Valverde is. They can only recover Valverde, and we'll see how Valverde is, because Dani Ceballos won't be available, and neither will Jude Bellingham. And the team falls apart. Friends of Mundo Madrid, the team falls apart, and it falls apart because there is little defensive work in the team. I mean, we've said it many times here, and Ancelotti has insisted a lot. I think that Madrid yesterday gave the impression that they weren't playing for much. They started very well in the first few minutes, but it felt like they weren't playing for much. And it's quite the opposite. Madrid was playing for a lot in Seville, because it's evident that they are playing for the league title. But we've seen some recent matches where Madrid, both matches against Manchester City, for example, where everyone was defending. And yesterday, both Kylian Mbappé and Vinicius, neither of them practically defended without the ball. Carlo Ancelotti ended up substituting Kylian Mbappé. Now we are going to listen to what he said about him. But beyond that, there are a number of players that I think are not ready to play. I have to say it. I have to say that there are players who are not ready to play. One is Alaba. Alaba, in my opinion, after the injury, is not ready to be a starter at Real Madrid. That's the feeling I have. He is not ready to be a starter in a top-level team. And yesterday he was. And that makes it clear to me that Carlo Ancelotti has evident problems in defense. Rudiger was not good. Rudiger was slow. Rudiger was extremely slow. Sure, a bit of speculation about what could have happened. Here we have Vinicius, and now we are going to talk about him. Speculating a bit about what might have happened. Why doesn't Asensio start in this match? Well, Asensio doesn't play because Rudiger was quite affected. And Alaba, it seems impossible to me that he would be a starter. Or, well, impossible. Nothing is impossible, but it seems unthinkable that he would be a starter against Atletico de Madrid because he's not ready to play. In fact, from the defense, the only one who performed well was Mendy. Here we have him providing the assist. Rudiger was bad. Alaba was very bad. You also have the match ratings, of course. And Luka Vázquez was terrible. We are going to make a video on the day of the match where we will analyze what could be. I will release it right at lunchtime on the same Tuesday. Then I will go to the Bernabeu later about what could be Real Madrid's starting 11 and Atletico de Madrid's starting 11, a preview of that match. Because really, the only defender who played at a good level was Mendy. Rudiger is going to play and Asensio is going to play. What will happen with the right back position? Well, that's the problem Carlo Ancelotti has. His team is completely falling apart. His team fell apart And then there's also a problem with Luka Modric. Luka Modric was a starter in this match. He played the entire game, which makes me think that Luka Modric won't be a starter against Atletico de Madrid, because it's hard to imagine Luka Modric starting in 2 such demanding consecutive matches. But maybe he has no other choice because he doesn't have Ceballos. Maybe he has no other choice because he doesn't have Ceballos. But of course, hold on. In the second half, he was exhausted. Luka Modric was exhausted, and he was exhausted for an important reason that I'm going to mention here. Here we have this image clearly of Madrid, what I was saying, Madrid playing very deep, Tchouaméni completely disconnected from the play, Madrid playing very deep and taking the ball out, and that forces him to make a very big effort, because in the end, Madrid can do damage in 3/4 of the field, and more so without Jude Bellingham. But of course, Modric has to come out, he has to be bringing the ball out and then reaching a truly dangerous area, and that's impossible at his age. The wear and tear is tremendous. In the second half, Luka Modric was absolutely exhausted. That's why I think it's difficult to imagine him being a starter in tomorrow's match on Tuesday. But of course, in the end, the problem for Real Madrid, friends of Mundo Maldini, is that if they play with Tchouaméni and with Camavinga plus Valverde, the creative capacity drops significantly. Ceballos' injury is dramatic for Real Madrid. At the beginning of the season, it seemed he was going to be a marginal player. Toni Kroos leaves. There's talk of, here we have Luka Modric with Tchouaméni. There's clear talk that he might go to Real Betis because he's not playing. And now he's going to become an indispensable player for Real Madrid. And he also gets injured, which logically is not Carlo Ancelotti's fault, but Madrid. The problem they have is tremendous. And the problem they had is exactly that, not being able to defend without the ball, especially Mbappé and especially Vinicius. That play of the goal in San Sebastian, Vinicius, as I said in the Movistar broadcast with the captain's armband, he recovers the ball himself. And then comes the pass from Jude Bellingham to Hendrick. Well, because Vinicius wasn't working without the ball, let's take a moment to look at the Wisecout report, friends of Mundo Maldini, from the match. And now we continue listening to Carlo because it's really worth it to keep listening to Carlo. But if we look at the Wisecout report, let's see, for example, the ball circulation of Real Madrid. How is it the ball circulation of Real Madrid? Here we have it. Let's take a look at it here now. And the average position of Vinicius. This is Real Betis, by the way, which I also want to comment on, because I think it's important. Like Real Betis, the people they brought together in the opposing camp. Notice the people Real Betis gathers in the opponent's field. That's very important. Real Betis played a great match. I don't want to miss commenting on that. But above all, regarding Real Madrid, and here we have the average positions of Real Madrid with ball circulation. Vinicius is the man furthest forward. He practically didn't drop back. Practically didn't drop back to defend. Practically at no point did Vinicius, very little at least. Madrid was leaning the play a bit more to the right. Of course, when in-game was there the other day, they leaned the play much more to the left. Because Mbappé was also going to the left, and because Vinicius was there. But look here, they leaned the play a bit more to the right and practically caused no problems. Both fullbacks were very far back, both Mendy and Luka Vázquez very far back without stretching the field at any moment. And a completely disconnected Vinicius. Here you see it, very disconnected from the play. Very, very disconnected from the play. The only one who tried was Luka Madrid, but he was very far from him. A completely disconnected Vinicius who logically, well, he couldn't generate almost any problems. Vinicius Jr. Here you will see it, friends of Mundo Maldini. You have here the actions on the field. Look, in the second half, not a single action. In his own half, not a single action in his own half. In the first half, some action in his own half. That is to say, he practically didn't work without the ball. Here we have the total defensive disconnection of Vinicius. And in the end, the team completely falls apart. Here we see it in the actions. Only in 2 actions in the second half, in his own half. He loses one and wins the other. And not near the opponent's half. It's true that Madrid was losing and needed to equalize, but that total disconnection means Vinicius also has to work without the ball. I find that absolutely fundamental. Let's also take a look at Kylian Mbappé while we're at it. Here we have, now we continue listening to Carlo Ancelotti. Here we have Kylian Mbappé, very few actions, 0 shots, 0 crosses. It's true that he made a very good play in the movie for Real Madrid's goal, that's certain. In the second half, he practically disappeared. So here the substitution is justified. Logically, I wouldn't have changed Kylian Mbappe's life, but just look at Kylian Mbappe's second half. It's nothing. Maybe he was affected due to the tooth issue or whatever. Today he hadn't trained. The match was very exhausting, but of course, this Mbappé is not useful for Madrid, and he was being the best player in the league in recent matches. But of course, Mbappé yesterday was unrecognizable. Just look at only 2 correct actions in the second half, one being the kickoff and 2 more. And then all the actions he loses in the first half. Yes, Mbappé is clearly better. In the second half, it was nothing. Mbappe's second half is, for whatever reason, but he cannot play at this level. We continue listening to Carlo Ancelotti.
This is a hard blow. We have to react. Losing, and at this point in the season, cost because all teams are running. We did not play this match well.
Teams are running. The truth is that what Ancelotti says is tremendous. Teams are running, as if saying we didn't run. Well, that's what happened to Real Madrid. To wrap up, thinking about tomorrow's match on Tuesday, let's see. Mendy is the only one salvageable in defense. Rudiger is not doing well. Asensio will be a starter against Real Madrid. Luka Vasquez is not ready to play a match of this level for me. Honestly, he is not. Alava, of course, is not ready to play right now. I think not even a match of this level. Maybe not even a match at all. I'm not saying Alava can't become a great player again. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that right now, after so many months without playing and the little he has played, Alava is not ready to be a starter, much less in a match. Let's not even talk about tomorrow's match on Tuesday, but in a match like this, for example, against Real Betis. Just look, for example, he was permanently disconnected from the game, Alava. I've taken this last screenshot for you and we'll finish. This last screenshot, which is the capture of the penalty play, Alaba is with Isco, who made 2 great passes. Mendy is far from the play. Rudiger doesn't make it in time. And I saw Rudiger yesterday in several plays, friends of Mundo Maldini, in several plays I saw Rudiger slow. I saw him slow. Rudiger is not well. Rudiger is not at 100% for sure. And I think that has a lot to do with it, because in this play, he also misjudges it badly. But several returns I saw him quite poorly. I think it had a lot to do with it, about how poorly Rudiger is doing. With the feeling, with the fact that Asensio was a substitute, I think it would have been the last straw if Asensio had gotten injured yesterday, because it's always a possibility when playing, obviously, and that made Asensio stay out and Luka Vasquez come in. Carlo Ancelotti has a serious problem for tomorrow's match. I don't know how you see it, friends of Mundo Maldini. I want your opinion. We finish with one last sentence from Carlo Ancelotti, and then we'll leave it.
No, I don't know this. I'm not in the player's head. What happened is this. The initial pace, the good positioning on the field. Of the first 20 minutes, we were not able to maintain throughout the match. Then, little by little, we started to lose the ball. We lost 27 balls in the first half. Too much loss, and Betis got back into the game.
Well, coach's moment for tomorrow's match. Tonight you will have, of course, a video already with the match predictions, with the percentages of the matchups. I wonder if this man will be a starter, by the way, if Brahim will be a starter. And tomorrow, Tuesday, you will have, of course, a specific preview video of the match around 2 in the afternoon approximately, in which I will talk about the possible lineups, about how I see the match in general, how I think Atletico de Madrid will play, how I think Real Madrid will play. And then, of course, from the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, you will have the post-match, plus the ratings, plus the Wisecout report. And on Wednesday, and I'm heading to Lisbon to comment on that Benfica-Barça. And I won't overlook other Champions League matches either. We have a great week ahead. A hug by...